Hey everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're diving into a recipe that's near and dear to my heart, pasta e fagioli. It's an easy pasta e fagioli recipe that's perfect for those chilly evenings when you need a warm hug in a bowl. Pasta e fagioli, for those unfamiliar, is a classic Italian soup that truly embodies comfort food. We're talking pasta, beans, a rich tomato broth, and just a touch of aromatic herbs. It's the kind of dish that makes you want to curl up on the couch with a good book and a warm blanket. The best part, this recipe is incredibly easy to make. You'll be surprised how quickly you can whip up a pot of this deliciousness. So gather your ingredients and let's get cooking. Before we dive into the recipe, let me introduce you to our first essential item, paper towels. Trust me, they're our best friend when it comes to achieving that perfectly crispy pancetta or bacon. We'll be cooking the pancetta until it's golden brown and irresistibly crispy. Once it's done, we'll use these trusty paper towels to soak up any excess grease. This step ensures that our soup has a lovely balance of flavors without being overly heavy. Remember, we want that pancetta nice and crisp for later when we use it as a topping. It adds a wonderful textural element to the soup, so keep those paper towels handy, and let's move on to the next step. Now that our pancetta is sizzling away on the stove, let's grab a plate. This is where we'll set aside our crispy pancetta once it's done cooking. Make sure the plate is clean and ready to receive those golden brown morsels. As the pancetta cools down on the plate, it will continue to crisp up, achieving that perfect crunch we all love. Remember, we'll be using this crispy pancetta as a topping for our pasta e fagioli, adding a burst of flavor and texture to every bite. So let's keep an eye on that pancetta and get ready to transfer it to our plate once it reaches that perfect golden hue. For this recipe, we'll be using a heavy pot or a Dutch oven. This is essential for developing those deep, rich flavors that make pasta e fagioli so comforting. The heavy bottom of the pot distributes heat evenly, preventing any hot spots and ensuring that our soup cooks consistently. Plus, the tall sides are perfect for simmering all those delicious ingredients together. I personally love using my Dutch oven for this recipe because it retains heat beautifully. This means our soup will stay warm and inviting long after it's done cooking. So, grab your favorite heavy pot or Dutch oven, and let's start building those layers of flavor. As we cook the pancetta and build the base of our soup, we'll be using a handy tool, the slotted spoon. This trusty utensil is essential for removing the cooked pancetta from the pot while leaving all that flavorful rendered fat behind. The slots allow the excess grease to drip back into the pot, infusing our soup with a rich, savory depth. We don't want to lose any of that delicious flavor. Plus, using a slotted spoon ensures that our pancetta pieces are transferred to the plate without any extra grease, keeping them nice and crispy. So, keep that slotted spoon close by, and let's continue building those incredible flavors in our soup. Now, let's talk about the vessels that will hold our comforting pasta e fagioli, our serving bowls. I love choosing bowls that are not only practical but also visually appealing. Opt for bowls that are deep enough to hold a generous portion of soup, allowing you to fully immerse yourself in all those delicious flavors. Consider the material of the bowls as well. Ceramic bowls retain heat beautifully, keeping your soup warm throughout your meal. And of course, don't be afraid to add a touch of personality. Choose bowls that reflect your style and make the dining experience even more enjoyable. Now, let's talk about the heart of our pasta e fagioli, the ingredients. Each element brings its own unique flavor and texture to the table, creating a symphony of deliciousness. We'll be using pancetta or bacon for that smoky, savory depth that forms the foundation of our soup. Onions, carrots, and celery, our holy trinity of flavor, add a touch of sweetness and aromatic complexity. Cannellini beans, with their creamy texture and mild flavor, provide a hearty element to the soup. And of course, we can't forget the pasta. Small pasta shapes like ditalini or macaroni are perfect for soaking up all that delicious broth. Canned diced tomatoes add a touch of brightness and acidity, while chicken broth forms the base of our soup, bringing everything together. And finally, a touch of fresh herbs like rosemary and thyme elevates the flavors to a whole new level. Alright, are you ready to create some magic in the kitchen? Let's walk through the steps of making our comforting pasta e fagioli. First, we'll render that beautiful pancetta or bacon until it's crispy and golden brown. Remove it from the pot using our trusty slotted spoon and set it aside on a plate lined with paper towels. Next, we'll add our aromatic vegetables, onions, carrots, and celery, to the pot and cook them until they're softened and fragrant. This is where the magic starts to happen. Now it's time to add our cannellini beans, diced tomatoes, chicken broth, and those fragrant herbs to the pot. Bring everything to a simmer and let those flavors meld together. Finally, we'll add our pasta and cook it until it's al dente, tender yet still with a slight bite. Now comes the fun part, adding those finishing touches that elevate our pasta e fagioli to a whole new level. Remember that crispy pancetta we set aside earlier? It's time to crumble it over our soup, adding a burst of salty, smoky flavor and a delightful crunch to every bite. Fresh basil leaves bring a touch of freshness and vibrancy to the soup, while grated Parmesan cheese adds a salty, nutty depth that complements the other flavors beautifully. And for a final flourish, a drizzle of good quality olive oil adds richness and a luxurious mouthfeel. Feel free to get creative with your toppings. You can also add a sprinkle of red pepper flakes for a touch of heat, or a dollop of pesto for an extra layer of flavor. This recipe for pasta e fagioli is incredibly satisfying and perfect for sharing with loved ones. It yields 4 generous servings, making it ideal for a cozy family dinner or a heartwarming meal with friends. And the best part? From start to finish, this recipe takes approximately 40 minutes to prepare. That's right, in under an hour, you can have a pot of comforting, flavorful pasta e fagioli, ready to warm your heart and soul. So, gather your ingredients, put on your apron, and let's get cooking. We're almost there, just a few final touches to ensure our pasta e fagioli is the best it can be. For a heartier, thicker consistency, gently mash some of the beans against the side of the pot. This will release their starches and create a creamier texture. Now it's time to adjust the seasoning. Taste the soup and add salt and pepper to your liking. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't take it away, so season gradually. Finally, stir in a handful of fresh spinach leaves just before serving. They'll wilt slightly in the heat of the soup, adding a pop of color and a boost of nutrients. And there you have it! Our comforting and flavorful pasta e fagioli is ready to be enjoyed. I hope you give this recipe a try and experience the joy of creating this classic Italian dish in your own kitchen. Don't forget to share your creations with me. Tag me on social media and let me know how your pasta e fagioli turns out. I love seeing your culinary masterpieces. Until next time, happy cooking!